Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're going to dive into the core ideas from Dr. Susan Forward's landmark book, Men Who Hate Women and the Women Who Love Them. It's a powerful work that really pulls back the curtain on psychologically abusive relationships. So let's kick things off with a story from the book, The Story of Nancy. When you hear her talk about her husband, Jeff, you'd think she's found the perfect man. We're talking surprise trips, constant flowers, the whole movie-style romance. But here's the thing. Behind that perfect picture, the reality was just devastating. The confident, successful woman Nancy used to be was gone. In her place was someone anxious, full of self-doubt, and basically a prisoner in her own house. So how does this happen? How does a romance that starts out like a dream turn into a complete psychological prison? That's the huge question Dr. Forward really digs into. And in this explainer, we're going to walk through the very specific stages of this destructive pattern she uncovered. All right, let's get right into it. The first stage, the perfect man illusion. And it's all about how these relationships start, which is almost always with this incredibly intense, idealized romance that feels way too good to be true. The book has a great term for it, the whirlwind courtship. It's like a relationship on hyperspeed. Everything is intense, all-consuming, and you feel like you've finally found the one. And this creates such a powerful bond that you just don't see, or maybe you don't want to see, any of the red flags. I mean, check out this example from the book. On their very first date, Marks tells Jackie he's in love with her. Now, for her, that wasn't a warning sign. It was the most romantic thing ever. But it's really a tactic, It's meant to sweep you off your feet and make you believe you found a soulmate instantly. Okay, so you have this incredible, intense beginning. But that fairy tale romance, well, it has a really dark side. Let's look at what happens when that perfect honeymoon phase comes to a sudden, crashing halt. The way Dr. Forward describes this shift is just brilliant. She calls it the Jekyll and Hyde transformation. That charming, loving guy, Dr. Jekyll, starts to disappear. And seemingly out of nowhere, Mr. Hyde shows up. Cruel, critical, and totally controlling. And this right here, this is the absolute core of the confusion. You're left trying to make sense of two totally different guys living in the same body. Dr. Jekyll pops up just often enough to keep you hoping, but Mr. Hyde is always lurking. It puts you in this constant state of confusion, just walking on eggshells. So you're probably asking, why? Why does this flip happen? Well, the book explains that it's because he put her on this impossible pedestal in the beginning. So any sign that she's a normal human being, getting tired, having a bad day, crying, he sees it as a massive betrayal. He fell in love with a fantasy, not a real person. So, okay, once Mr. Hyde shows up, how does he keep control? Well, the book lays out a clear pattern of psychological abuse, a whole toolkit of weapons used to take over and maintain that control. The first weapon, and it's a big one, is verbal abuse. And look, we have to be really clear here. This is not just someone having a bad day or a heated argument. Dr. Forward calls it a systematic campaign to just chip away at a partner's confidence and self-worth. And what's so twisted about this is how it gets framed. He'll launch this vicious attack and then follow it up with something like, "I'm only telling you this for your own good." He actually frames his cruelty as a kind of messed up care. Then there's a really insidious one, gaslighting. This is where he starts to make you feel like you're literally going crazy. He'll deny things he said or did, tell you you're just being too sensitive, or that you're remembering it all wrong. It's designed to make you doubt your own reality. And of course, there's blame shifting. With this tactic, nothing is ever his fault. Any problem, any failure, any shortcoming he has, somehow it always gets twisted around to be her fault. So, get this. He doesn't take a job, but somehow that becomes proof that she's a money-hungry bitch. It's a masterful and really destructive way for him to avoid taking any responsibility for his own life. Okay, this all sounds absolutely awful, right? Which leads to the big, unavoidable question that everyone asks. If it's so bad, why do women stay? Well, Dr. Forward points to a few really powerful psychological hooks. First, there's a literal addiction to the highs. Getting that good Dr. Jekyll back is so unpredictable and rewarding that it works just like a slot machine. You keep putting up with the losses just for that occasional jackpot of affection.
Then there's just paralyzing fear, this constant anxiety about doing or saying the wrong thing that will trigger Mr. Hyde. And finally, the book describes something called collusion, where to survive, the woman starts to buy into his version of reality, accepting the blame just to make the chaos make some kind of sense.
All right, so we've seen the what and the how, but what about the why? Where does all this destructive behavior actually come from? The book traces it all the way back to the beginning. And the answer, according to Dr. Forward's work, is pretty startling. It often goes all the way back to their childhood, specifically their unresolved issues with their own mothers. They're basically replaying these old, deep-seated fears and resentments with their adult partners. The book lays out two main patterns. On one hand, you have the needy mother, who forces her son to be her rescuer. This creates a man who deeply resents female dependency and is terrified a woman's needs will just suck him dry. On the other hand, you have the suffocating mother, who is so controlling that he grows up terrified of being engulfed or losing his identity in a relationship. So you see, both roads lead to a man who secretly believes that any woman he loves has the power to destroy him. And that's the key. All of this need for control, it isn't about strength at all. It's a defense mechanism. It's born out of this deep, deep fear. He has to control her before, in his mind, she can control and destroy him, just like he felt his mother did. So, where does that leave us? Dr. Forward is super clear on this point. Understanding all of this, seeing the pattern, that's absolutely the first step. But, and this is a big but, it is not enough. And that's really the heart of this work. It pushes you past just analyzing the problem and toward taking action. It's not just about figuring out the why anymore. The real question, the one that truly matters, is what now? What will you do differently?